we got her. Okay, let's go back on the record. The record reflect the presence of all jurors, both, all counsel are here. Mr. Winslow is present. Ma'am, you can come on up and have a seat there on the witness stand again. All right, and over the break I was able to isolate your microphone, so I turned it up just a little bit, but I'll just remind you to try and keep your voice up the best you can, okay, ma'am?
Okay.
All right, are you doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if you need to take a break, you just let me know, okay?
Okay.
All right, we're going to continue with the questioning from Mr. Owen at this point.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Owen, direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Doe, you talked to Christina that same day after this happened, right?
Yes.
And was it because of what she said to you that caused you to go to the police?
Say that again.
Let me ask you, did you report it to the police that day?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Because my friends made me. And
What do you mean by that? Tell us what happened.
that why I talked to another friend named Sherry, and she said I should tell my brothers too, and the sheriffs, and they all believed that I needed to tell them. So, but I didn't think it was a good idea.
Why didn't you think it was a good idea to talk to the police?
I was scared. I didn't think it was a safe idea.
What did you think would happen?
Getting hurt, somebody getting hurt. I really didn't want my friends to know.
Were you embarrassed about what happened? No?
No,
Okay.
I was afraid.
So, did you actually go to the sheriff's department and tell them what happened that day?
Yes, I did. I talked to a sheriff first, and then later on they took me to the sheriff department.
Do you remember talking to a deputy by the name of Chad Latonio? You might not remember his name.
Was he the first guy I talked to? I don't remember his name.
Let me ask it this way. Do you remember talking to a patrol deputy who came and saw you
Yes.
at the coaster station?
Yes.
Did you end up talking to a detective, and actually a couple detectives, later that day?
Yes.
And did you, when you talked to them, did they tell you that, based upon what you were telling them, that you had the right to either accept or decline a sexual assault exam by a nurse?
Yes.
Were you willing to have a sexual assault exam done?
Yes.
Did you go and see a nurse at a hospital that same night that you reported this?
Yes.
Now, was that a difficult choice for you to make?
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled. You can answer.
Yes.
Why?
I don't really know why. It's kind of like going through it again. You know, it's like, they were so sweet, but it's like, it's nonchalant. It's like when you're sharing it, it's embarrassing. You know, and it's just a hard thing to do. You know.
Did you have to tell the story to the first deputy that came?
Yes.
Did you have to tell the detectives themselves also what happened?
Yes.
Did you then talk to the sexual assault nurse examiner, the SART nurse? Did you also have to tell her what happened?
Yes.
Was that a hard thing to do?
It was easier with women.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. It just was, it was calmer. I felt calmer.
I understand. When you say that it was easier with women, did the nurse, Ann Williams, did she talk to you about what happened? Do you remember?
As far as I know, she did.
Okay.
You know, because she talked to me first before she examined me.
When you were talking to the deputy and the detectives and Nurse Williams, were you attempting to be as honest and accurate as you could best remember at that time?
Yes.
Now, he's not here today, but do you recall that there was a point in time where Detective John Johnson from the Sheriff's Department, an older gentleman with the mustache, and he actually came and met with you and talked to you about this?
Yes.
Did he actually come to the hospital and meet with you either before or just after the nurse examined you?
I think it was before. I'm not sure. And I know the women were in there with them.
Now, when you talked to Detective Johnson, did you tell him that you knew the person as Kevin, if you remember?
What?
Do you remember how you identified the person or described the person to the detectives?
They showed a photograph.
So that's what I want to ask you about. First, looking at this exhibit, look to your right if you can. May I approach your honor?
Yes, and that's court exhibit number 24 for the record.
It's exhibit 26, your honor.
26? Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, the admonishment. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
You want me to look here?
You can either look there.
Am I supposed to read it?
No, one moment. So I'm going to show you these two exhibits. First, beginning with Court's Exhibit 26 for identification, you can look to your right or across the way, but the one in front of you is what we're showing on the screen, okay?
Okay.
Looking at this exhibit, do you see that there's a date that's handwritten on the side of that black box?
Yes.
What was that date?
5/14,
Of what year?
2018.
Was May 14th the day after this happened when you met with the deputy and the detectives and the SART nurse?
Yes.
And I know that there's a big black box there, but can you recognize your handwriting on for the date of 5/14/2018?
Yes.
And down below, it says a photo lineup was shown to, and then there's another black box for the purpose of establishing the identity of a person having committed a crime reported to the San Diego Sheriff's Department. Do you see that line? May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
This line here, I know it's hard to read, but
Yeah,
that's
I
what I
don't
just
have
read.
glasses.
That's okay.
Okay.
Do you see that there is a number that's written on the box, a witness identified photo number?
Yes.
What is that number?
2.
Showing you Court's Exhibit 27.
Does she have it on the witness stand?
She does. It's the
If
next
you look-
page.
If you look underneath that page, ma'am,
Oh, it's,
there you go. And it's the same thing that's being shown on the TV screen.
yes.
All right, next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you see that there is a circle around the number 2 below the photograph?
Yes.
And did you place that circle there, if you remember?
Did I?
you know?
Yes.
When you were given this photographic lineup and the admonition that was on the other page, did you look at the 6 photographs that are shown on this exhibit? Did you look at those photographs?
Oh, up here. Sir, I kind of remember a different photograph,
Okay.
but that's him. He was sideways, the picture that you guys took of him.
Okay.
And that's what I remember. I don't know if I'm wrong or,
Are you remembering that from a different time later?
from the, maybe it was, they showed 2 different photographs.
Okay. When you looked at this photographic lineup, did you circle the number 2 underneath that brick?
I don't know if I circled it or if someone else,
Okay.
but that was what I chose. But I remember someone from the sideways, you know.
Now, and I know you've been shown a lot of photographs over the course of this case, but as it relates to this exhibit, do you see that there are initials that are next to the number that's been circled?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask it this way. The photograph that's the top row in the middle, above number 2, do you recognize that person as Kevin?
Yes.
Showing you Courts Exhibit 8, previously identified. Do you recognize that person in the photograph?
It looks like him. His eyes are closed. Yeah.
Showing you
Yeah, that's
Courts
him.
Exhibit 7.
Yeah, that's him.
Showing you Courts Exhibit 9. You see that photograph from the side? Do you recognize them?
I don't recognize those tattoos. I only saw it from the right side.
So then showing you Courts Exhibit 10, and I know it's difficult to see on the screen. Give me one moment, if I may, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes, that's him.
Okay. Regarding the tattoos,
Okay.
I'm going to show you Courts Exhibit 10. I'll take these ones back.
Okay.
You see those tattoos that are on his arm, his right arm?
It's dark. You know, it's dark.
Now, in terms of what you recall from that day, did you give a physical description to the police of a black male with tattoos that extended from his wrist all the way up to his shoulders? Is that a yes?
Yes. Well, I don't think he ever wore. Yeah, I guess he did. Yeah. Yes.
Are you trying to remember what he was wearing that night? Is that a yes?
Yes. It looks like he's changed the tattoos a little bit.
Based upon what you're seeing in those photographs?
Yes.
Okay.
From seeing him in person.
Now, you had at least 5 to 7, perhaps, interactions with him, and in each of those interactions, well, is it fair to say that he was wearing different things at different times?
I'm sure he was, but I didn't pay attention. It's only like I only remember seeing like this much.
Right, indicating from the mid forearm down to the wrist. Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Except from the first time I met him, then his whole arm was showing.
And you just gestured with your right arm onto your left, with your right hand onto your left for the
Right
entire,
arm.
one moment, for the entire arm, and then now you gestured with your left arm to your left hand to your right arm for the entire arm.
Just a moment, just a moment.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The witness is indicating that she, on her own arm from the shoulder down to the wrist, that's the amount of the person's arm that you saw the first time you met him?
Say that again.
Okay, you indicated from your shoulder down to the wrist is how much of the arm of him that you saw
Yes.
the first time you met.
On the right side.
The first time you met.
Yes.
Okay, on the right side. All right, the record will reflect she was demonstrating on her left arm, but you're clarifying for the record that it was on his right arm, correct?
Yes.
Okay, next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to show you Courts Exhibit 11 on the screen to your right.
Uh-huh.
Do you recognize that vehicle at all from the back?
It looks different to me.
All right.
You know?
As best you recall in the times that you've
Because
spoken-
it was a really nice vehicle. There wasn't wheels hanging out. There's no junk. It was like a fancy Hummer.
Right. And as far as you know, you don't know whether that Hummer has changed in any way from the times that you remember seeing it? Is that right?
Right.
Showing you Courts Exhibit 72. Looking at that photograph, is that a Hummer H2?
Yes.
Is it black?
Yes, but I remember it being all black. I mean, the wheels, maybe I didn't see it well enough in the light, but I just remember black. I don't remember any gray on it, light gray, and it wasn't short, it was longer than that. It doesn't look like the right vehicle.
Okay.
As far as I remember.
And that's all we're asking about today is what you remember today.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Doe, do you remember what you were wearing on the night that this happened?
Just pants and a shirt.
Your Honor, may I have a moment just to alert the court and any potential media that's present as to the next exhibit that's going to be displayed.
Okay.
Showing you Courts Exhibit 2, looking to your right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember if you were wearing that shirt on that day, on the night that this happened?
I guess I must have because I didn't change my clothes,
Okay.
you know.
And in terms of the other clothes that you have been wearing, you mentioned that your pants, at one point, he told you to take your pants down. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you remember what type of pants you were wearing?
I think I was wearing my, I'm not sure, because I've lost, so many pants were stolen. That's not something to laugh about, but, so I can't remember. I think they were sweatpants, I'm not sure.
But were the pants that you were wearing at the time that you went to the sexual assault exam, were they the same pants that you had worn the night before?
Yes.
Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
All right. All right, ma'am. Mr. Carlos, are you handling cross?
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Carlos has some questions to ask for you as well, okay?
Okay.
All right, cross-examination.
So I'm going to ask you, how long have you been homeless for?
On and off for 2 years.
Okay. And before that, where were you living? In San Diego?
I've been fighting homelessness for a while. I lost my job a while back, another job that I had. And so before I became homeless, I was staying with friends and working part-time but not working.
So relatively like a transient lifestyle, essentially.
No, I wasn't transient for a long time. Only, I think 2 years I was fighting homelessness, and I think I don't know how long it's been, sir. It's been a while.
Okay. So I'm assuming, that you, at least during this period of time in 2018, and a little bit prior to that, you were in the downtown Encinitas area, right?
Yes.
And that was your home, for lack of a better word, right?
Yes, but I was still working then.
Now, you have to wait for me to finish the question.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So, for lack of a better term, Encinitas, downtown Encinitas, was sort of what you would consider home, right?
It's where I hung out, yes.
Right. In fact, during direct testimony, you were saying that you just wanted to be taken home, and by that you meant just taken to where you.
Yes, where I was.
And I take it also that, and I think you said it during the prelim, nobody likes sleeping in the streets, right?
Of course not.
Okay. So, I mean, it's a hard life for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And particularly in May of 2018, you weren't working, right?
It was before I got assaulted. I lost my job just a week before that.
Okay. But you were working. Where were you working? Oh, you were a caregiver.
I was a caregiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any income, correct?
Not as of then, not after, yeah.
So you had to rely on, did you get any government assistance?
I would, when I first met him, I did have income.
I'm asking you whether you had, okay, in May of
Oh, May, I didn't. Okay, sorry.
So
Okay.
in May of 2018, you didn't have any government assistance?
I did have EBT and the CRC, the food bank, and I was staying at my brother's part-time.
Okay, were you receiving an SSI check?
No.
So EBT is what, food stamps, right?
Yes.
And staying at your brother's house was for free.
Yes.
And where did he live?
Objection, relevance, as to the specific location.
Sustained to the specific location, but the general area?
Generally.
All about that.
Encinitas, Cardiff area.
Okay, so you had your brother in the general area.
Yeah. A couple nights a week I would, spend the night.
Okay, so part of your day-to-day activities in Encinitas is essentially just moving about town, right? You can't really stay in one place. Is that true?
Yes.
And I'm assuming that since you're on the streets, that you also know, a lot of the transient population in Encinitas.
I know some people that are homeless.
Now, you would agree with me that it's the homeless population in Encinitas is not as big as, say, it is in downtown San Diego.
Definitely.
So there's a handful of people that are on the streets in Encinitas. Yes?
Yes.
And, more or less they all know each other, right? In town.
Objection calls
Right.
for speculation.
Overruled, just meant you can answer if you know. If you don't know, that's fine. So you can answer it if you know.
Okay, say that
But
again.
more or less they all know it. I mean, you all know each other in passing, right?
Yes.
I mean, you may not know their name, their real name, but you know who they are.
Yes.
Okay. You know who to stay away from, right?
There's no people homeless that I don't know. There's, yes.
I mean, it's part of survival on the streets.
Yeah.
Fair to say, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
at the same time, you said that you met Mr. Winslow probably about 6 months prior to this happened, right?
I really don't want to look at him, sir.
You said about 6
I
months.
don't appreciate it.
Appreciate what? What is it you don't appreciate?
That I have to look at my rapist.
Okay.
I think you should be further over.
Now, take a look at him.
No, I don't
Your
want
Honor,
to
I'm
look
going
at
to
him.
object to the last
Just a
question.
moment, just a moment.
Objection, no question pending.
There is no question pending. Ask another question, Mr. Carlos.
Mr. Winslow, over here, you've known him for more than 6 months.
I knew him as Kevin. I never knew his last name.
Kevin, you knew him for more than 6 months.
Okay, if you say so.
I'm asking you, did you know him for more than 6
I
months?
think it was about 6 months.
Right. About 6 months. That's based on what?
Based on just trying to work out the math of how long when I got assaulted.
Okay, so where you would hang out by the bus stop is over, is it near a bike shop?
Is it near a bike shop? No.
Do you know where the bike shop is?
Downtown Encinitas? There's no bike shop downtown Encinitas.
Sure about that?
Bike shop?
As in bicycle shop.
Downtown Encinitas? There may be, but I'm not by the bicycle shop. I don't even know of one.
If your testimony that you've never seen Mr. Winslow or Kevin, if you call them, at the bike shop,
I've never seen him at the bike shop.
never seen him in his bike clothes.
I'm sure I did, but I never talked to him. I see him riding by.
Ever see him on a bike?
I'm pretty sure I have,
You've seen him on a bike on a number of occasions.
but I didn't know him by the bike. At that time, I knew him by his car. I knew of him later because I saw him talking to people in bike gear, but he never talked to me in bike gear at that time.
So you knew him by his car, which was a really nice Hummer, right? That's
Yes.
the way you said it, really.
Yeah, it was. It looked very expensive.
Okay. Very expensive. And this car that you're talking about is a fairly large car, I take it?
I thought it was large. It looked like a big car.
It's fair for me to say that the car does stand out, right?
Yes.
Because it's nice and shiny and
Mhm.
expensive looking.
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And on more than one occasion, that Hummer, came at or near to where you were standing, and you had conversations with
Mhm.
Kevin inside the Hummer, right?
He was inside the Hummer. I was outside.
Right. In other words, this shiny, bright Hummer pulls up, and he'll have a conversation with you. You're on the street, and he's in the Hummer, correct?
Yes.
And this isn't downtown Encinitas.
This is downtown Encinitas.
Right, and so there's other people, I mean, he made no efforts to try to conceal himself, right?
At that time, no.
I mean,
No.
you would agree with me that he didn't like slouch down in the Hummer and make sure people didn't see him?
I just thought he was a friend acquaintance.
Right, that's the point. The question to you is, did he make any attempt to conceal his identity at any time that he pulled up next to you?
Sir, I don't think so. Not at that moment in time.
And there were multiple occasions when he did contact you in his Hummer that you were around your friends that are on the streets, right?
Yeah, but I don't think they knew him.
Okay.
None of them knew him.
Understood. But a guy in a super nice Hummer rolls up and you go out to talk to the guy, right?
Because he seemed like a friend, not because of the Hummer.
I'm saying what other people are seeing. Following this? Was it fair for me to say that the people that are on the streets would see a very nice Hummer come up and you walk up and talk to the person in the Hummer? I mean, that's fair for me to say, isn't it?
Objection lacks foundation, false or speculation.
Overruled. Go ahead.
I didn't think much of it. I don't care if my friend is down the street with no food or no money. I don't care if they have tons of money. If they treat me respectfully, I talk to them.
Question to you, ma'am, is since he wasn't, you said that he wasn't trying to conceal his identity, correct? But yes?
As far as I know, no. He knew some people down there, but I don't think he knew my friends.
But every time that he had made contact with you, he was in the bright, shiny Hummer, correct?
Yes.
Right? So when he made contact with you, there were times when you were with your friends from the streets.
They never
Correct?
came over to the car with me when I talked to them. They didn't know him.
Listen to the question.
Okay.
Objection.
When?
Objection.
Mr. Monk, what's the objection?
No question pending.
Well, she answered the question. You can ask the next question. I think that's what he was going to do. Go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
The question is, you were with people when the Hummer would come up and you would leave those people and walk over to the Hummer?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Yes, because
Yes.
I knew him, and we just talked acquaintance-wise.
So likewise, this is just a yes or no answer, really. Likewise, you were with people and walked away from the people to the Hummer. to make
Yes.
contact, right?
Yes.
And this was on more than one occasion.
Yes, multiple, 5, 7, times. Yeah.
Maybe up to 10 times in a 6-month period.
I don't know how many times. He seemed like a friendly acquaintance.
Do you remember telling a police officer that it was like maybe 10 times?
I could have. I could have. I really. It's been so long, the time span. I don't know. I know it was, at least 5 to 7 times.
So besides the bus stop area, you said you hang out at the CRC.
I didn't hang out at CRC at that time. I just got food from them.
Okay. You had to go into the food bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
But there were people there from the streets that you also gave food, I take it.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, other people getting food on the streets.
Well, people that you knew.
Yes, not all of them did.
But I mean, there were people that you knew going to the food bank to get food.
Yes.
So you testified on direct that you had this sort of contact with this man Kevin over this, could be up to a year-long period.
It wasn't a year, and it was acquaintance.
Acquaintance, right? And you said that he was being nice to you.
Yes, he was a very nice person, I thought.
Gave you money occasionally.
Never gave me money.
And bought you food.
Never bought me food.
Just was being nice. He just talked to you.
Yes.
He just asked you whether you needed food. He
Yes.
just asked you whether you needed money.
Yes.
And it's also your testimony that you, just yourself, had never talked to him about money for sex. Who's that about you?
With the police officers.
I'm asking you right now.
Okay, say that again.
And that you, is it your testimony that you never had a conversation with Kevin about sex for money?
For a long time, no. No, I didn't, because I was afraid. I was afraid to tell him in between that he did offer sex for money. No, I didn't tell him. But then I told him later.
Wait, you were afraid to tell the police that there was a
Yes, because I
Excuse me, should I just ask the question?
Wait till he finishes the question.
Okay.
Wait till he's completely finished with the question.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
You were afraid to tell the police that you had this conversation with Kevin about sex for money. Let me finish.
Okay.
That was after you initially spoke to them, before the preliminary hearing examination. Isn't that true?
I don't know if it's, I think I told him way before then. One reason is I did forget, and it was 4 months after that, and we kept an acquaintance. I didn't talk to him for a long time. And then we kept the acquaintance, and I felt safe, and I didn't think anything of it.
Let me ask you this.
know.
So you remember coming in on the preliminary hearing examination was scheduled for July 11th of 2008.
Kids, you're talking about, what do you mean by
Your testimony, the first
Oh,
time.
my testimony,
Remember
yeah.
that?
Do you remember being in a courtroom? It looked just like this, but it was Judge
It's on
Elias
the other side.
down the
yeah.
hallway. Do
Yeah.
you remember that day?
Yes.
Okay, when he's talking about the preliminary hearing,
Mhm.
that's the hearing he's talking about. It was a different judge. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
that's before he was, is that before he was there? Did we have, or was it when?
Do you remember testifying in a courtroom that looked just like this?
Yes.
But it was down the hallway
Yes.
in front of Judge
Yeah,
Elias?
just say courtroom, I don't, yeah.
Okay, so that's what he's talking about. That's talking about the preliminary hearing.
Okay,
All right, go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
okay.
Okay, so before that preliminary hearing, we've been, so that was on the 11th of July, but that's when it was scheduled for. On July 10th, you met with Mr. Owens, a victim's advocate, Megan Queen, and then a couple other workers from the district attorney's office. Do you recall that?
Who was, here?
This guy.
For the prelim?
See this guy right here?
Yes.
You met with him, right?
Yes, I did before the court case.
And
And for the
record's-
record, Mr. Carlos is referring to Deputy Attorney Dan Owens.
Okay, yeah, I don't know him by Owens.
Okay.
I just know him by Dan.
All right. Dan. So you met with Dan. Dan was
Yes.
nice. Dan's very nice to you, I take it. Yes?
He's a very nice man, yes.
Okay. In fact, everybody from the DA's office has been very nice to you, correct?
As far as I know, as far as I have no qualms, sir.
Right. I mean, everybody's been nice to you from both the police and the district attorney's office, right?
Yes.
I mean, in fact, you received vouchers or gift cards to buy food with, right?
Yeah, about it, by the first court place, yes.
Yeah. And then you also put up in a hotel for a period of time,
Yes, before the other court case.
right? Before the
Yeah.
preliminary hearing. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why they were being very nice to you before the prelim, and then you come in to meet with them the day before the prelim. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And it's then that you told them that you forgot to say that there was an incident where you guys discussed sex for money. Isn't that true?
Yes, it's true, but I forgot about it when I was talking to the sheriff, and then I remembered it, but I didn't know. But I know you have to share everything.
Right.
So I did share.
Let me ask you this question though. So
Yeah.
when you were being interviewed by the police, when you made the report, they asked you whether or not there was some type of sexual relationship that you had, you know, with this Kevin guy. You know that?
Never.
You didn't have one, right?
No.
Right, but they also, I mean, the question also, they asked you whether or not there was a reason why he would think that you would want to have sex with him. Remember that?
I don't think there's any reason. I never let him on that way. I was honest with them.
Right, that's what the police officer, that's what you told them. But you neglected to tell that police officer that months prior to this assault, you guys had talked about money for sex. Yes or no?
I didn't talk about money for sex. He did.
But you
And I
omitted,
said, no, I'm not that kind of person.
but you omitted to tell the police officer that when you
But
did
I
the
did
report.
tell them.
Yeah, you told them 4 months later, you told the district attorney before you were going to testify at the prelim. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I was scared.
Okay.
I was scared that no one would believe me.
But during that particular session that you had with Mr. Owens, I mean, they told you that you had to tell the truth at the preliminary hearing.
Yes.
And part of that truth was the fact that you did, in fact, have this conversation about sex for money with Kevin.
I didn't. He did. I said I'm not that kind of person.
Right, but
And then months later, I saw him. I didn't see him for a long time. I didn't want to talk to him. And then he'd show up, and then I let him in a little bit. We just talked from the outside of the car.
Right, so my question to you, though, is when you were meeting with the district attorney and all of his assistants, you know, you were told that you needed to tell the truth, and that's when you related this information about the sex for money, the discussion about sex for money. And I'm asking about anything other than that. True? Is that true?
I didn't mention it until that time. Yes.
So on this particular occasion, so remember, you don't drink alcohol, right?
No, I enjoy, but I don't like to get drunk. I enjoy beer mainly, a little bit.
Okay. You don't take any medication?
No, sir.
And you, are you currently under any psychological care?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Do you, well, let me ask you this. So when you were with your friends, who were you with? Was Christina? Was your friend that you were with on May 13th?
Yeah, no, May 14th and May 13th, yes.
Right. Christina, right? So Christina,
Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
All right, next question.
so Christina is with you, and you had another, she was there with Mike? Is that the name?
Yes.
Is Mike a friend of yours too?
Yes.
Okay. And you guys are just hanging around the streets and by the bus stop?
Yeah, I just got done celebrating Mother's Day with a friend.
What did you
And
do?
they were
What did you do to celebrate Mother's Day?
Had dinner, with a friend.
Where'd you have dinner at?
I think I went to 2 places, I'm not sure.
Okay. So you went to dinner with a friend, and then you went back to your hangout that you're there with Christina
Yes.
and Mike, right?
Yes.
Okay, then the shiny Hummer rolls up, and you see Kevin.
Yes.
And then you walk, I mean, he doesn't drive up, you walk to that vehicle, don't you?
He drives up and parks right where my friends are, right where we are.
Okay, and then you get up and you walk
I
over to
say
the car.
hi to him because he's a friend.
Right, but you walk over to the car, right?
Yes.
Right, and you have, is there a discussion before you get into the car?
Acquaintance.
Pardon?
Asking if I ate, if I'm hungry, do you want to get a bite to eat?
Right, and you told them that you already had something to eat, but you suggested maybe we should go for coffee. You suggested, correct?
I said I like coffee.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Is that he asked you whether you wanted to eat. You said, no, I've already eaten, but then you suggest, hey, maybe we can go for coffee. Isn't that true? Yes?
Sir, I'm sure I mentioned coffee, yeah.
I guess that's my question. You mentioned the coffee, right?
Is that a yes?
I don't know, I could have, probably, because I'm a coffee fiend.
So the answer to that is probably yes, that you're the one who suggested coffee?
Probably.
Okay, just a moment. I noticed, do you have water there?
Do I need water?
I noticed you keep licking your lips. It seems like your mouth might be dry, and there's a lot of questions. So if you just take a moment and take a sip of water, please feel free to do so. You can leave it on the desk. But just feel free to take a moment to take a sip of water whenever you want to. It seems like, is your mouth getting dry?
Yeah, well, I always have lip gloss on.
Okay.
I'll lick my lips without it.
Okay. Well, if you need to take a break and drink some water, just please do so, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Carlos. Next question.
What was my last question?
The last question? So the answer to that is probably yes. You're the one who suggested coffee, and the answer was probably.
Okay, so.
All right, go ahead.
So you don't get immediately into the vehicle, correct?
No.
Okay, because you have to go back and get your bags.
Yeah, and I told my friends. And,
Let me just stop right there. So, yes, you were gonna go back and get your bags, correct?
Yes.
And then you also were gonna tell your friends that you're getting into the car with Kevin, who you,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. You have, sorry. We had this.
They didn't have any qualms.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Again, make sure he's finished
Okay.
with the question. And Mr. Carlos, be mindful of the pace. I want to make sure we make an accurate record here, okay?
I was given an admonition by the court reporter yesterday, so.
But he asked a question within a question.
If he...
And
you're-
question.
Just a moment. If
With
you're
a lot of
all
assuming.
right, just a moment.
Okay.
If you're concerned about whether there's a question in the question, you need to let us know that you don't understand the question, and then we'll have them rephrase it, okay?
Okay.
So I want to make sure you understand the question before you give an answer.
Okay.
I don't want you to be confused, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Carlos. Next question.
So you went back to your friends to tell them that you were going with Kevin, yes?
That I was going, yes. I don't even know if I said his name, and they said, okay, well, you know. So,
Okay, but they saw the Hummer.
yes.
And the Hummer's visible, right? Yes?
I think everybody saw the Hummer all the time.
Yeah.
It's done in Encinitas a lot.
Right. There was no hiding the fact that this guy Kevin drove the nice Hummer, and your friends would have seen the Hummer because it was right in front of them. Correct?
Yes.
Right. So you tell them that you're going with your friend Kevin, yes?
I don't consider him a friend, I consider him an acquaintance.
But your acquaintance Kevin, you told him I'm going to go with my acquaintance Kevin. You told him that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said that you grabbed your bags, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, but your bags are like, you got all your stuff in, so it's not just like one little bag.
Except my blankets and everything. Yeah, because I took them everywhere.
Right.
Because people steal stuff, you know.
So you've got all your belongings with you, you grab them, and then you run, and you go walk back over to the car and you get into
Yes.
the car.
Yes.
Okay. Does Kevin help you get these suitcases? Are they suitcases or are they bags?
I think it's just bags. I carried a lot of bags then.
Okay, does Kevin help you get the bags into the car, or you put them in yourself?
I put them in.
Okay, did you open the back door to put them in, or did you open the trunk, do you remember?
No, just in the front with me.
Just in the front?
Yeah.
So these are like the size of maybe garbage bags?
That's how I carry a lot of junk because at that time I spent the night at different places where I worked, and I didn't have any place to put my stuff, so I had a lot of stuff, yes.
Okay, so my question was, how big were the bags?
I don't know how big they were. They're like grocery bags and filled to the brim with clothes and whatever I had.
Give me just an idea.
I
Use your
don't
hands.
know how big they are, sir. They're probably this big.
Okay, indicating
Probably,
about 18 to 20 inches.
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So you had two of those bags kind of equally filled?
I don't know if I had 2 or 1. I can't remember that night, sir. I usually kept a couple with me, so I don't know.
But you put the 2 bags in the front seat with you.
I don't know if it was 2 or 1 in my purse. It could have been 2.
Whatever it is, you put the bags plus your purse, which is more like a fanny pack, right?
Yeah, my fanny pack. But I was probably wearing my fanny pack at that time. I'm not sure.
Right, so all of this is in the front seat with you when,
Yes.
when Kevin drives away.
Yes.
And everybody that was with you, Mike and Christina, knew that you got into that vehicle. Right?
Yes.
And they'd seen that vehicle before.
I'm sure they have.
Right. So then the vehicle starts driving. You testified that it went away from the places that you thought you were going to go, correct?
I wasn't sure where we were going to go. All I thought we were going to do is get coffee.
Right. All right. Whatever it was, you were going away from the area you thought you were going to, correct?
I just didn't, I was just a little scared. I didn't know where he's going. I didn't think any coffee place was around there. And then I just started thinking it's pretty late and there's probably no coffee places open.
So you drive down Encinitas, up Encinitas Boulevard, and takes a right on El Camino.
Yes.
I mean, you remember that specifically, correct?
From Vulcan to El Camino Vulcan to Encinitas Boulevard to El Camino Real.
Okay, so there's several lights on Encinitas Boulevard on the way to El Camino Real.
Yes.
And you gotta go onto the freeway, correct?
On El Camino.
From Vulcan.
Okay, now you're talking, where are you talking from?
Okay.
El Camino Real or
You go down Vulcan,
Uh-huh.
you go left on Encinitas Boulevard, right?
No, you go right on Encinitas Boulevard.
Okay, right on Encinitas Boulevard, but you're going east, right?
Yes,
Away from the ocean.
yes.
All right, and so you go under the freeway,
Mm-hmm.
yes?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
And there are several lights on the way to El Camino.
Several lights. Yes.
Are you talking about stoplights?
Stoplights.
You understand the question?
Yes, I don't know what you're trying to ask.
I'm just asking whether there are several stoplights on the way to
Yes,
Camino.
and there's a Denny's over there too.
So, I mean, and then you take a right on
El Camino Real. Yeah.
and how long on El Camino did you drive before Kevin flipped the U-turn?
When I started getting nervous and he wasn't answering my questions and I was asking him where we're going, what coffee shop, I ate Demar, I thought I was going to go on the freeway there. How long? I think he passed the Chevron. If there's a Chevron still there, there's nobody there, there's no lights, and it's awfully dark in this area of the street. When you get off El Camino Real from Encinitas Boulevard, its streets start getting really, really dark, and it's scary. And then I started getting scared. It's like, where are you taking me? And he went, I'm not sure how far he went. I really can't tell you. I know there was some business over there that weren't there. And what?
You don't know how far you went.
It was past the Chevron station. It was past things. I think it was before the freeway, maybe. As far as I know, maybe not.
Okay, so basically from Encinitas Boulevard, you take a right on El Camino, and you don't know where you stop between Encinitas and the freeway, just somewhere on that road.
It was on Manchester, in a very dark place, and I couldn't see very much because I was mostly inside the car,
Right.
the area I was in.
In fact, you were taken back to that area by police, and you couldn't locate the place.
I know, because definitely in the dark, I really wasn't able to see,
Okay.
and it was in the dark. There's no lights.
Right, so in the car, what I want to talk about is you described a situation where you were being choked Strangled is the word you used.
I didn't say strangled, I just choked.
Choked.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're being choked by two hands, right?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes?
Yes, sir.
And I want to just be clear here. So the person just didn't put, Kevin, just
Mhm.
didn't put two hands on your throat, did he?
It was two hands, and I knew he was smart
What?
because he did it in a way that you can't leave any marks.
And what-
Just the same as in ejaculating outside, sir.
Okay, but you just described on direct examination that this man, Kevin, put both hands around your throat,
Yeah,
right?
way up here, but he was holding it like,
Right. And so you said that he squeezed your throat and you couldn't breathe. You said that.
I couldn't breathe
Okay.
and I couldn't talk right. I was talking because I was, he was talking to me while he's choking me.
Listen to my questions, okay?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to any interruption to the witness's response.
Narrative and unresponsive.
All right, well, okay. If there's an objection during the answer, I'll entertain the objection, but the witness is finished answering the question.
Oh,
So we're gonna have another question, okay?
okay,
And make sure you listen carefully to the question and answer only the question as asked.
okay.
Okay, all right, so Mr. Carlos, next question.
My question to you is you described a choking that he did. Do you remember that during direct? Just yes or no?
Say that again, I'm sorry, I can't focus, sir. It's because I can't look at you, so it makes it harder. But go ahead, say it again.
You described a choking event inside of the vehicle. Remember that?
Yes,
or no?
yes, sir.
You described the individual putting both hands around your throat. True or
Yes.
false?
True.
Okay, let me finish the question, please.
Oh,
You described on direct that he applied pressure to your throat so hard that you couldn't breathe. True or false?
true.
Okay. And that would be to your neck, isn't that true?
It was up really high, and he used both hands.
All right,
You
indicating,
can't use marks. It's,
just a moment, again indicating the upper part of the neck just below the jawbone. She's indicated with both hands on her neck. All right, next question. Listen to the next question.
Ms. Doe, were you shown the pictures of your START example?
no, I never saw any
Okay.
of them. I know he's pretty smart.
Okay.
I know
You
there's no marks, and I know he ejaculated outside of me because he doesn't want to get caught.
And you know also.
I know he's very smart.
Because you've seen the pictures that there are no marks on your neck. You know that.
Objection. Mr.
I've never
Evans.
seen the pictures.
Overruled.
You know that.
Just a moment.
I've never
Just
seen the
wait,
pictures.
ma'am, just a moment.
Okay.
You know.
Just wait. I was letting the court reporter catch up. There was an objection, the court overruled the objection, and the answer will stand. All right, and again, let's be mindful of the pace so the court reporter can keep up. And again, ma'am, make sure he finishes the question before you give your answer, okay?
Okay, but he has so many questions in between, so I try to answer.
Okay, well, we're
So
gonna
it
have,
confuses me.
here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna have
Okay.
one question, and when he's done asking a question, we're gonna have one answer. And then when you're finished with that answer, he'll ask another question. So we're gonna go question and answer, one by one. So let's ask the next question. Go ahead.
You know the next day when you washed up, right? That you didn't have any marks on your neck. You know that.
I know I didn't have any marks, but
Okay.
it's
That's
the
yes or no?
truth. Yes.
Okay. So when you went into the bathroom to clean yourself up, you could see that you didn't have any marks on your neck. True?
I don't mean, there's
Is
no.
it true that you didn't see
No,
any marks
there's
on your
no
neck?
mirror. Where I wash
Just
up,
a moment,
sir,
just a moment,
there is
ma'am.
no mirror.
Ma'am, just stop for a moment. Okay, we just had 3 people talking at the same time, and we cannot have that. So there was an objection. Did you make an objection, Mr. Carlos, or not? 'Cause it did
No,
not
I-
make on the record.
I asked the question.
All right, and what was the objection, Mr. Owens?
People are objecting to the interruption to the witness's responses to the question.
All right,
I-
go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
My question was I just asked for a true or false answer.
That's right, and the answer was non-responsive. So if the witness gives a non-responsive answer, then you can object, Mr. Carlos, all right? So let's have the question again, and listen carefully to the question, and only answer the question that is asked. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
It's just a yes or no. question?
I can't answer yes or no because there's no mirror in the bathroom where I wash up, sir.
At some point,
So I didn't even look at my neck. I didn't know.
are you telling this jury that at some point during the day, before you called the police, you never looked at yourself
No.
and, wait, let me finish.
Wait till he finishes the
Okay.
question. All right, let's have the
They're
question.
just such long questions. It's like a sentence. I don't know how to answer them.
All right, Ms. Doe, if you don't understand the question, you just let me know, all right? But listen carefully to the question and wait till he's finished asking the question before you give your answer. So go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
You never, what you're telling us today is that during the whole time before you spoke to any police officers, which would have been, the next day,
Mm-hmm.
you never looked at yourself anywhere.
No.
Okay, at the same time, nobody told you that you had marks on your neck, right?
I didn't talk about the incident with
But
them.
you saw Christina, right?
Yeah, but I didn't
Wait.
tell.
Yes or no? You saw Christina.
Yes.
Okay, and Christina didn't tell you, hey, what are those marks on your neck? Did she?
No.
Okay. So you were aware that you didn't have any scratch marks or any type of injuries to your neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
A yes? Is that a yes?
Maybe not that I could see.
Okay. And when you say that he's smart and he does it so that he doesn't leave any marks, that's just your own opinion.
That's
That's
my
what you-
very much opinion
that's
of
what
the
you-
situation.
That's what you
Yes,
tell.
it is my opinion.
That's what you're telling us now.
I actually even thought he was a police or something.
Like if police know how to strangle people and not leave
No,
marks.
but they know how to hide evidence.
And you know this why?
From watching shows.
So this individual, Kevin, chokes you in this secret way to not leave marks, but he chokes you hard enough that you can't breathe.
Yes,
Isn't that
sir.
true?
Yes, sir,
And-
that changed my voice.
And it changed your voice.
And I couldn't breathe.
And then he just let go.
After I said I won't scream.
Let go.
Yes.
So, and so we're clear, the part that you described.
But he said he'd murder me or choke
The
me.
penetration that you, sorry,
Okay.
that was my fault, not yours. The penetration that you described took place
Mhm.
kind of half in and half out of the car, right?
Yes.
So you were always kind of half, your body was part ways into the.
I know I fell once, my leg fell down once, but as far as I know, if I can remember, I was half in, not at first, just later.
Okay, so sort of half in, half out, you never left the vehicle yourself, right?
My foot did touch the ground. When I had my foot up on the, I don't know what you call it, the stand,
That running board thing to get you up into.
or whatever they call
The
it.
thing to step up into the vehicle?
Yes.
All right. So this would have happened with the car door open?
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
And I'm assuming that in order, Kevin is a lot bigger than you, right?
Yes.
So I'm assuming that that door is open all the way.
As far as I know.
So just so we're clear, we have a very, very large Hummer parked on the side of the road on Manchester Boulevard, correct?
Yes.
And the passenger door is open to its fullest extent.
I don't know if it's open to its full extent. I just know it was open.
It's open enough so that there'd be somebody of Kevin's size to be able to stand there and be behind you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then that would have been on Manchester Boulevard.
Yes.
So you also said that then you felt kind of the pressure in your rear.
Yes.
So you don't really know whether or not there was any penetration, but you felt something that hurt.
Yes. And I screamed.
And you said that you don't know whether he did it on purpose. And
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but
did he say
why
something?
should I give him the benefit of the doubt?
Did he say something to you?
No, he just, put me up on the seat, put his hands around my throat, And he says, if I scream, I'll murder you or choke you.
So why did
And
you?
I couldn't talk because it was so hard against my throat.
So let me ask
I
you this.
just said, if you don't hurt me, I won't scream.
So if you.
You're asking me a lot of questions, I'm trying to answer them all.
If
All right,
you-
just a moment, Mr. Carlos. Again, I'm trying to let the court reporter catch up. Make sure she finishes her answer before you ask the next question. And for the record, the witness was demonstrating with, again, both hands around her throat and demonstrating that during her testimony. All right, next question.
If you are being choked, you are being threatened with your life, and you are being raped,
Yes.
what will make you think that something happened accidentally? Very simple.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think that. I don't know. I don't know what's in people's minds. I don't know, and I don't know why I thought that.
Okay, fair enough.
You know.
So you then you get back in the vehicle, you can put your clothes back on, right?
Yes, he asked me to put my pants on.
Okay. And by the way, to get your pants off, you took your pants off initially, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think he helped a little bit, but I didn't think I had any other choice. I had no way out.
So,
You think I'd try to fight that guy?
so you put your pants back on and you were being driven down, right?
And I was what?
You were being driven down the road, back in.
With my pants off, or putting my pants back on. No, he drove. He was driving. He put a sweatshirt on, put a hoodie on, looked forward, didn't look at me anymore. And I forget when he threatened me again. As far as I know, he turned left towards like he's going to an apartment. I said, no, please take me home. So he turned around and went, and he could have said it beforehand, if you tell anybody, I will murder you. And it looked like he had something underneath his sweatshirt.
Right, and that's what I was going to ask
I
you
took
about.
it very seriously. That's why I didn't want to tell anybody.
You never told the police that he looked like he had a weapon under his shirt.
Did I not?
You didn't.
I didn't.
And you never testified at the prelim that he indicated that he had some type of weapon under his shirt.
Well, maybe at that time, yeah, I remember it clearly. I remember like there was something under his sweatshirt. I don't know why I would not share that. I know that they tell you you remember more things as time goes on or as you share more.
So,
And I didn't know I didn't share that. Yeah, okay.
All right, so now you're walking with all your stuff. You're walking with your
Yes,
bags.
when he dropped me off at Manchester, yes, I was walking with all my bags.
All right, wait till he's done with the
Okay.
question. What he was doing was just kind of setting the scene to put you into
okay.
place.
Okay.
And then he was gonna follow that up with a question, so make sure he's completely finished with the question. So go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
Walking down the road in the dark,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
With all your stuff.
Yes.
You're miles away from home.
Yes.
Right? You're worried about where you're going to be sleeping that night, right?
I'm worried about making it home.
Right. And so you want to get back to your friends and so
Yeah.
where safety is, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's when you say that as you are walking, you come close to the freeway and you see people underneath the bridge.
Yeah, jumping, hopping over the bridge and hiding.
Okay.
I don't know.
Can I ask you a question now?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the overpass on Encinitas Boulevard?
I'm talking about the bridge. The bridge after you pass the restaurant.
Okay,
The freeway.
right, so it's the freeway goes over Encinitas Boulevard.
Yes.
All right? So is that the bridge you're talking about?
Yes.
And so what you remember are people, what, more than one,
Yes.
jumping, or first of all, hiding themselves underneath the freeway overpass, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how many people did you see?
I think I saw two, and then I saw one other person run across. I think that's.
Okay, did you see them run across the freeway, or did you see them run
No,
across
they're
the
just
bridge?
jumping over. I don't know what it was and hiding. I didn't know why they were doing that. So I waited till, and I was just afraid he'd come back.
Okay.
And so I was waiting for when cars showed up to run by the freeway.
Okay,
you
so
know.
what you saw were multiple individuals who were attempting to hide themselves under the freeway overpass, and you saw maybe another couple trying to jump too? You were saying jump onto the freeway?
No, it wasn't on the freeway. It's, you know, where you're, here's the bridge, and here's you're walking underneath the bridge. There was, I guess they're still working on it. There's something they jumped over and they hit, and I don't know why they did that. It was, I don't know who they were. It was just dark and I was already scared.
What time of night was this?
Sir, I had no watch. I didn't have my phone with me. I have no idea.
Okay, so you wait for cars to pass and give you some light to go under the freeway, right?
Just, yeah.
And so you run under the, I take it you ran under the overpass, the bridge.
I didn't run on the, underneath the bridge.
You had to go, you went underneath the bridge, right?
Yes, I wasn't on the top of the bridge.
No, you went underneath, and so
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people who were hiding themselves would have been up above you?
No, they were the same area. They just, I don't know why they did that, you know?
So those people now were down below the bridge on the ground?
They were only down, they weren't on the bridge. They were down below on the ground. They jumped over something that they were working on and they were hiding. I don't know why. I don't know who they were. I was just scared.
And so that you didn't have any problems walking under the overpass bridge?
I thought I waited till cars came and I ran.
Okay. So then you make it all the way, you finally make it to, I guess, the Coast Highway. You said you went to Filiberto's?
Yes.
And were there people on Filiberto's?
Was it people? Yes, it was a Friday or Saturday night. I don't know, at night there's a lot of people hanging out there.
Did you find any of your friends at the Filiberto's?
I found a friend that I don't see very much, every once in a while, and I was talking to him.
What was his name?
Robbie.
Bobby?
Robbie.
Robbie, did he have a last name?
I don't know his last name.
Okay.
He was just hanging out at Filiberto's.
One moment.
All right?
Does Robbie also go by Bobby?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm.
That no, you have to say.
Oh, no, sir.
Okay. So he's not Bobby Guzman? Do you know Bobby Guzman?
Yes, but that wasn't Bobby Guzman.
Who's Bobby Guzman?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. You do not need to answer that question. Next question?
So you talked to Robbie,
Yes.
and we've already established you didn't tell anybody about this until
No,
after talking to Cindy.
till the
Gardner.
next day.
Till the next day when you spoke to Cindy Gardner.
No, I talked to Christy.
Oh, Christina.
Christina.
Christina, sorry. Christina Gardner.
I don't know what her last name is.
Okay. You said that she felt that there was something wrong, and then you.
She just thought I wasn't acting like myself. She thought something was up.
So who was it that said that? I mean, was it Christina that told you to call the police?
She could have told me to call. Maybe she told me to call my brothers. I can't remember. I talked to. I'm sure they both told me to talk to my sheriffs, but Sherry told me to call the sheriffs and my brothers. But I think Christina did call the sheriffs. You got to tell somebody.
Okay, so so Sherry was a friend of yours, or was she at the CRC?
She's a friend of mine.
Okay, where was she located at?
She was at the time she was homeless.
Had she ever seen Kevin before?
I don't know. I don't think she knew him. I don't think they knew him. I don't know.
So it might have been Sherry that told you to call the police?
Yes.
Okay, and so then you did call the police and you gave them an interview?
Yes, I gave him my story.
Okay, and so that was in a parking lot, do you remember that?
Oh, the first one was the sheriff that showed up and talked to me, yes.
Okay. So we previously you testified that, initially you didn't tell the police about this talk that you had about exchange money for sex, right? You didn't say-
No, we just talked about the rape incident.
Okay.
We didn't go how long, we just talked about the rape incident, what happened.
But do you remember saying during that interview that something to the effect of,
Which interview, the first police officer or when I went to the sheriff's station?
the one who interviewed you in the parking lot?
Boy, I can't even remember what I said. It was, he just asked questions over and over and over again. It was later in the day, I don't know.
Yeah, you mean he asked questions over and over again?
Yeah, over and over again.
Do you remember telling him something to the effect of, you know, that,
Your Honor, may I request a page and line number in the transcript?
Yes. You have a date
Hold
stamp?
on. No, I have to find it first.
All right.
I'll move on now. So, when you were being interviewed by the detective or by the police officer in the parking lot,
Which one, in the parking lot?
first one,
Okay, the first one.
first one, you told them as best you could what the facts of this, what happened to you?
I can't even remember. I remember talking to him. I can't remember what I said, what he said. All I know is he asked questions over and over again. And it was just about the incident. It was, you know, so.
So you did your best to say what happened?
Yeah, as far as I know, I can't remember what I shared with him. He was the first sheriff I talked to, so.
You said that you washed up. Was that before you spoke to the sheriff, the first sheriff?
I don't know when I washed up. I don't think I washed up before I saw Christina. I think it was later. I really can't recall when I washed up.
But you washed up. You washed up after the assault, right?
Yeah, because no, it was probably before I talked to Christina or anybody, because I planned not to talk to anybody. So I didn't think of, you know, I was planning not to share.
Do you remember telling any of the officers that that he had told you to wash up? He being Kevin.
Is Kevin a police officer?
No,
I don't.
I'll strike that. I'll do the question. Did you tell Christina Garvey that he being Kevin told you to clean yourself up?
He didn't tell me to clean myself up.
Okay, so you didn't tell Christina Garvey that? Because
No, he just said he'd murder me if I tell somebody.
Did you tell this a police officer that you had that you had never had sexual relations with Kevin, and you never did anything that would lead him to believe that you desired sexual relationships with him?
Yes, because I said no. I never gave him any reason.
Except for the talk earlier about the...
Yeah, but my answer was no.
Just a moment. Wait till he finishes the question.
Okay, I thought he was done.
Oh, no, he was just.
It's hard because I'm not looking at him. Okay, go ahead. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Just make sure he finishes with the entirety of the question.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Carlos. You started with, except for the talk earlier about the.
About the exchange of money for sex. Is that yes?
Now, what is your question about that? Say that again, the whole question.
The question is that you told them that you never had any sexual relations with Kevin, and you never did anything that would lead him to believe that you desired a sexual relation with him, right?
Yes, that's very true.
Right. So except for the talk, except for that what you omitted was this
Yeah, but I
talk
said
about-
no.
Wait, just a minute. Wait till he finishes the question. Go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
Except for the talk of, well, I'll even put it your way, and him proposing $50 in exchange for sex.
Yeah, but at the first sheriff I talked to, it was just about the incident. Yes, later on when I talked to the sheriffs at the sheriff's station, You gotta realize that thing was the last thing from my mind because it was 4 months ago. And my answer was no, so no, I did not give him any indication that I'd have sex with him.
And you never told that to your friend Christina Garvey either.
No, I had no reason to share it with her. You know, she wanted me to share the incident.
So, but let me ask you this, previous to the incident, did you tell any of your friends that Kevin had proposed an exchange of money for sex?
I don't know if I did, but I think we're on the rape case, not the 4 months before it.
I'm asking you about the 4 months before it.
Yeah.
I'm specifically asking you
But
about
what
the
does
4
that have
months
to do
before.
with the rape? That's what I don't understand, especially since I said no.
I'm asking you a question about 4 months before.
And this
I'm
is my
asking
question.
I'm asking you whether or not you told anybody about this incident 4 months before.
I'm not sure if I did. I think I'm not sure if I did or not. I just shared the incident and I never went in detail with my friends.
You did share the incident or you did not share the
No,
incident?
with Christina, I did not go in details. With sharing my friends, I never went in details about the rape. I only went with details with the sheriffs because they ask every question.
My question to you, Ms. Mill, was did you tell any of your friends about this previous discussion about sex for money with Kevin?
I mean, offer me $50
Yes.
if I have sex with him after he asked me if I wanted money for food, or I don't think I did tell them. I don't think I talked about anything, but I didn't talk to Kevin for a long time.
So that is
I don't
Yes,
think
you
so.
did not.
I don't think so, sir. I don't know if I did or not.
right. And your core friend group would have been just basically Christina and Mike and
They were there that night.
they wouldn't have known about this previous discussion.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Not as far as I know.
And so after this discussion about, the 4 months previous, there's this discussion about the $50. You say, I don't do that. I'm not that type of girl.
Objection, asked and answered, 352.
I haven't got the question out.
It's foundational, go ahead.
Kevin, did he ever propose that to you again?
No, never.
Okay. Did he say, hey, you gotta have sex with me or I'm gonna kill you? Except, you testified about
Not
this.
until after he raped me.
Right, but I mean,
And then in
previous
between the rape.
previous to May 13th.
Previous to the rape?
Previous to, but follow my question. May 13th, remember that day, Mother's Day?
Yes.
Okay. 4 months back, when you had this discussion about money for sex, I'm talking about in between this period of time,
Yes.
at no time did Kevin threaten you, did he?
No, I always thought he was a friendly person. I stopped talking to him for a long time after that, though.
At no time did he say, if you don't give me sex, I'm going to kill you, did he?
He never talked about sex after that.
In fact, he said nothing during those contacts that he had with you, which would lead you to have any type of fear of him. Because
Acquaintances.
that's why you got into the vehicle.
Yeah, I thought I was safe.
Right. In other words, if after this conversation about money for sex 4 months prior, if he had said something to you that was vaguely threatening or even sexual, you wouldn't have got into that vehicle.
I don't think any woman would have.
Well, I'm asking
I
about
don't think
woman.
any woman knows they're going to be raped.
I'm not asking about any woman, I'm asking about you. So,
I'm a
if you
woman,
had,
yes, I did not know I was going to be raped.
if you
I
had,
got in the car because I thought I was going to get coffee.
question is, in between that 4 month period, there was nothing that Kevin did or said to you that would lead you to believe that
He
you
would
were
hurt.
in
No.
trouble. What's his, why,
No.
why you got into the car?
Yes, I felt safe until we got to the dark place and he wouldn't answer my questions. Then I started getting nervous. And then when he turned around, yeah, I knew I had no way out.
Fair adjourn, are we good for a break right now?
Yeah, I was watching the clock and we were right up against the noon hour, so we are gonna take our afternoon recess. We'll be back at it right here at 1:30. So have a nice lunch, leave your notebooks on the chair, and we'll see you back here at 1:30. Please remember the admonition, don't talk to anybody about this case. We'll see you back here right at 1:30.